name is Fisayo Oyemi. My pronouns are she, her. I am the Community of Action facilitator for We Lead project in Nigeria. I am an amateur mixed martial art fighter. I started it due to a fitness journey. For me, it was also, you get to learn about, self-defense because there is danger out there every time. And it sucks, but it is also nice for us to be equipped one way or the other, empowered. I started majorly working around LGBT rights in 2017. At the time, there were a lot of LBQTI persons in the closet, and it was like a lot of hiding. They were not empowered. They didn't know their rights because there was like the general misconception at the time also that because you are an homosexual, you are a criminal by law. I'll say my drive was, pushed from my own real life experiences, right? As a member of the community and also understanding in real time or firsthand how LBQTI persons in Nigeria, suffer violations just based on, existing and just living and being themselves. So I saw that and I want to be part of providing or creating a solution to that. My community is also, waking up. Young people are really, really starting to, come up, and they are very vocal. They are very radical, and yeah, that gives me hope. That keeps me going in the fight.
My name is Oyemi, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm a human rights defender and intersex activist. I'm also an environmental technician. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm an intersex person. Growing up was full of ups and downs, discriminations, marginalization, stigma, stereotyping. It became more open, and I became more aware of this cause of being a defender of my kind, when I realized that there was no space for intersex people in Nigeria. Queer persons and intersex persons also have been victims of not just harassment but suicide. And this suicide comes from different forms of discrimination they experience and they can't share. So these are some of the stories that when I say that society is my biggest challenge, you can see that it's not necessarily government enacting laws and policies that will protect us, but also how the society accepts women without being forced to accept. How do they unlearn some of the things that have come with cultural beliefs, traditional beliefs, religious beliefs. My biggest dream is freedom, where people are allowed to express themselves. People are allowed to love who they want to love, identify as they want to identify, have right to their body autonomy, to their body integrity, and have a form of belonging, sense of belonging in what is happening in society, in anywhere they find themselves.
Well, I would say my biggest dreams as an advocate is to lend my voice to build a society where everyone has equitable access to rights, irrespective of their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their sex, and their religious background. Hello everyone, my name is Makendra, and my pronouns are she, they, them, and I'm a trans woman advocate. Over the years, they have not been programming for trans persons in Nigeria, and then being a trans person, what inspired me was, I want them to know that trans people really exist in Nigeria and that these people have needs that are to be met as individuals. I've been attacked before doing my job because where I was working, people around were like, who are these guys behaving like women and all? So they decided to invade the office space, and we were attacked physically. At some point, I was scared because of the attack. I was like, do I really want to still put my life at risk doing this job? But then I must say that what keeps me going as an activist is the love I have for my community. Aside my biological family, this is the family I have. So I have to lend my voice to make sure that I can assist in any way I can to make it a better place for us all.
My name is Grace Isong Akpan. My pronouns are she, they, and I am the Executive Director for Initiative for Gender Equality and Sexual Reproductive Health. Initiative for Gender Equality and Sexual Reproductive Health is a youth-led, non-governmental organization that advocates for young women who identify as lesbians, bisexuals, queer, transgender, and intersex persons in Nigeria. It started as a tic for me in 2020 when I realized that in as much as there was an LBQTI movement in Nigeria, there was a gap for young people to engage in such processes, and the fact that programming for young LBQTI persons were limited. It has constantly, it feels like there is a gun at my back because of the work that we're doing, knowing that in our country, Nigeria, it is a taboo to actually be an LGBTI person and having to even work for LGBTI persons. I would say my biggest dream is to see a lot of young LBQTI persons self-actualize themselves, as well as them having self-confidence, being in spaces that was never even thought for them.
My name is Akudo Gwaramba, and my pronoun is she, her. When I moved to Abuja in 2007, I got introduced to the queer community. And getting into the queer community, I realized that I was that lesbian woman who's always present. And so it became a personal quest for me. And usually that in our context, it seems like, continuously women are pushed at the back of every conversation. And it wasn't until we held our first picnic, that was in 2010, that I realized that the needs go beyond the social, meaning that if we actually want to make sustainable change, that we are going to have to formalize. So there's an assumption that being a human rights defender is not like a career, yeah? It's not a career. It's something you do because you are motivated and you desire for change to happen. But then the need continues to grow. It means that I have to be paid to do my passion, yeah? And that also prompts the question or the discussion around how well should activists be paid? Even coming down to the work that we're doing at home, there is this non-formal competition that happens. There has to be a balance between supporting organizations and not pitching them to compete against themselves.
My name is Remy Makinde. I'm a lawyer. I'm a human rights activist. I like to think that I've always been an activist. I'm sure that while growing up, I was probably one of those children that would always want to argue with parents as to trying to find my own identity. I've always felt the need to speak up, defend others. So that, I think, was what led me to applying for the job at TIERS, because I wanted to contribute my quota. I wanted to add to human rights advocacy for LGBT plus persons in Nigeria? So LGBT plus persons are faced with multiple layers of challenges, talking legal, socio-economic issues. The first of course is going to be the legal framework, right? That is a challenge in itself. In fact, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have. The reason why it's so important now is because of the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, because it's not just punishing carnal knowledge of same-sex loving persons, it also criminalizes their right to freely express themselves and their right to associate freely. And this kind of gives a verbal authorization to anyone, to violate LGBT plus persons' rights.
My name is Agem George. I like to go by GJ. My pronouns are him, he, him, his. I'm a trans man and I'm a trans rights activist. I like to surf the internet because I'm always online. I like to read new stuff. I like to know more stuff about transitioning, about the work I do mostly. When I joined the movement for advocating for trans persons in Nigeria, that was motivated by a need for self-awareness, I would say, because it is very obvious that so many trans persons, trans men especially, do not or are not self-aware of their identity. Some of us are mostly looped into the category of trans-masculine or of masculine presenting lesbian women instead of the identity that we should be identified as due to ignorance or lack of awareness. The laws and policies that are already put in place are already a big challenge to do anything that has to do with LGBTQI plus persons, because that already is a stumbling block for legal actions to be taken. Mostly we try to do what we can do, engage with the media online and try to see how we can change narratives. But these laws that are already set, these policies that are already set on ground are like the forefront challenges aside from the religious biases we have in the country, because the country is programmed in a religious way that everybody is so scared to talk other than the norms that they know.
So for me, I think makeup is one of the things I love doing. I mean, I love makeup because if you look at me, you see that my passion, my hobbies reflects around fashion and style. And then adding it up to makeup, I mean, to present a figure of who a trans beauty queen is, I mean, you have to measure up with the world. Akapel Mbanusi is my name. I'm a community health worker, a trans human rights activist. I will say I was compelled to start programming or start running an initiative. At the time I started programming, the community that I represented wasn't visible. It was very, very demanding trying to start something that wasn't existing, So, and as big as Nigeria, it was shocking that at the time we had just one trans organization in the 36 states in Nigeria. The community needed somebody who is vocal, somebody who is courageous, bold, and that can put a face to the trans community and become a voice. The level of violence and attack at the time against trans people were on the high side. Trans women were brutally murdered, mob attack. I had my fair share of these attacks, and for me that was a nightmare. I said, no, I need to come out and speak. I think people should be looked at as human beings.
My name is Alexandra Maduabu. I'm a trans, non-binary individual and lesbian. I'm also a human rights activist. My favorite thing to do is to dance, actually, because it's the thing that comes the most naturally to me and brings me the most natural and untainted joy. The experience that made me start advocating for the rights of persons like me, that's trans and lesbians and non-binary people, was just a personal realization that all the things that they told me about myself, like all the prejudices that were imbibed in me, like all the things that I internalized about people like me, were not true. So it was two things: one, necessity, and two, self-awareness and awakening, and realizing that there was work to be done in combating discrimination and prejudices that people like me face on a daily basis. The biggest challenge that I faced while being a human rights defender is realizing that human rights defenders are more of the same kind of people that we are defending people's rights from. Just understanding that that space is also just as toxic as the mainstream space, that has been my biggest challenge. My biggest dream and desire as a human rights activist is to dismantle and disrupt and disobey and defy the patriarchy in as many possible ways as there can be, like to disrupt, like tear everything down. That's what I want. And then rebuild in our own likeness, in a way that puts the minorities first, in a way that essentially doesn't replicate the systems of oppression that we're used to. So yeah, that's my dream.
My name is Idera. I am an intersex person. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a sexual reproductive health and rights activist. My area of focus is creating visibility for intersex persons in Nigeria.
Growing up as a child, it wasn't an easy one. It's not like, it wasn't like a bed of roses. I was born in a wealthy family, but should I say that the silver spoon was taken from my mouth because I was different.
I had to go through what they call conversion therapy. So that's conversion surgery, conversion, everything that are doing, are making it difficult for us to realize the existence of others. Advocating for intersex persons in Nigeria is something that's like under the shadow. It's not something recognized, because if you come to Nigeria, it's mostly everybody, all the sexes are boxed into male or female. So being an intersex person is like something that does not exist. That visibility is one of the biggest challenges we have. And we can't even get that data until we start talking to healthcare providers to stop assigning sex to every child they give birth to. And then another thing is the safety and security, because most times people tend to push the issues of intersex persons and make it inclusive of LGBTIQ issues, which is not actually so. Then funding too. Sometimes it looks like people do not fund what they do not understand. Most funders, they want to put in their money in something they have seen already growing. So being that intersex rights activism is something that is still very much on the it's not even up to grassroots level. It is still something that is incubating. So it's always very hard to access funds to do whatever we want to do. I'm looking forward to a world where nobody is boxed into anything. Be who you are, be free, live your life. I'm looking forward to a world free from discrimination, stigma, and criminalization. I look forward to a world where a child will grow up today and find out who they are and live their true existence. I look forward to a world that is accommodating, a world that is friendly. I look forward to environments that provide basic needs to everybody, irrespective of who they are.
I stand
As a witness
Against
all forms of violence meted
On human rights
Defenders,
advocating for
For LGBTQI plus persons.
LBQTI persons.
young LBQTI persons.
LGBT people.
intersex persons,
trans persons,
LGBTQI persons.
transgender and non-binary persons in Nigeria.